What's Grounded, fam? It's your boy Johnny Gio. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Grounded Phoenix podcast. My guests today have battled with addiction, gang violence, have done some prison time, but nowadays they're determined to address the stigma in addiction, and they're really wanting to help just about anybody that wants it. Founders and owners of DST, Vince and Matt, thank you guys for joining me. How are you guys doing today?
Good, thanks for having us.
For sure, man, for sure. Honestly, it's a freaking privilege to have you guys on. I'm super stoked about this. Super excited, guys. So on today's video, normally we talk about people's past. I really want to focus on the transition from dark to light. So before we get there, I just want to get a glimpse of what you guys had been through in the past individually.
Okay, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, middle class family. Dad was in the military. Parents were decent, a little small, decent upbringing. I grew up in the city, Mission Hills first.
Okay.
Pretty decent childhood. My parents did everything for me.
Nice.
I kind of chose to blend in with different crowds. I mean, I went to private school, but I played sports. I had kind of like a weird, mixture in my life. I was involved in like 4 or 5 things at one time that were like, how would you say they clashed.
Okay.
I was good in school. I was really good at baseball.
Nice.
I was into graffiti, and like I said, sports. So all these things, and I was into punk rock and like old school 80s music too. So all these things were like they kind of clash, and I was in like different groups in like school and stuff. And
for sure.
And as the years grew on, I kind of separated from the sports and got more into the graffiti scene as that picked up in the 90s in the Valley and all throughout Los Angeles.
You had options, bro.
Yeah, I did. And I mean, I kept trying to. Yeah. School went good for me for the most part. I eventually ended up graduating from high school, but getting involved in graffiti was a really big path. Well, the graffiti scene, if anybody coming from LA knows, in like the 90s, graffiti was different. Nowadays, I look at Instagram, you got guys that are so good because they can do anything on Instagram. You have yards, you can buy your supplies pre-made. Graffiti for us back in the days was really dangerous and scary. We were getting shot at by gang members. We were getting attacked by local heroes, people trying to stop us. We had cops on our ass. We took it real serious. We were good at it. I was involved in a few prominent LA crews. Nice. And but if anybody knows the history of that, the graffiti scene turned into gangs real quick with the influx of like the gangs getting on our ass and like really weighing us down. We unfortunately my tagging crew ended up joining the street gang in the city of Sun Valley where my family moved to, and that was that for me was a culture shock. Culture shock for sure. Well, being from a street gang is a completely different step up from just running around tagging, playing baseball.
Different mentality
and
going
again,
on.
I'm a punk rocker. I'm a white boy, so I'm listening to punk rock music. I'm skateboarding. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I was in the hood with the homies and everything, and the gang I was from kind of took a turn, evolving over the years from street gang into another level of gangs that I wasn't cool with.
Oh, okay. And did you end up evolving with it as well?
No, I was a member. My tagging crew was one of the ones that was forced into a gang, so we all joined.
It's pretty intense, bro. I know a couple of crew members that used to do graffiti, but there's a big difference between tag banging and then just graffitiing, right?
Unfortunately, see, my guys couldn't. We were good at the more graffiti art aspect of it, but they had more of that attitude where the tag bangers, and I couldn't stand it because I just wanted to do graffiti. And then when we were forced to join a gang, it changed a lot. A lot of stuff changed when you join a gang. It's a serious step.
Right.
Let's tell us what you used to do too before you went down the dark path too.
What?
Like the mixture.
Of what?
The Navy.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, but that's a longer story. Yeah, I'm a veteran also.
Just run us through.
Yeah, give us a
breakdown.
Okay, so well then, just so you know, so quickly from the gangs, I went to jail a few times, and I chose to go in the Navy to get myself out of some trouble. And I was a fireman on an aircraft carrier. Oh shit! My title was DC-2 on the SS Constellation.
Bro, that's dope, man. That's super tight, man. I'm glad you brought that up.
A lot of people look at him.
Yeah, they don't know that.
His path.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really look at him and be like, "Oh, this dude was." Nobody would look at him and be like, "This dude's ever been in the military."
I feel honored here, bro. Yeah. Damn, man. I'm just like
traveled, been all over the world, dude.
Thank you for sharing that, man. For sure, appreciate that.
That's something that inspires me every day. Matt is someone who inspires me every day. And so yeah, like similar. Like I grew up pretty middle class. I grew up out in the AV in the middle of nowhere, really. It's like an hour and a half from the nearest major city
about that.
in any direction.
Okay.
And yeah, so I grew up like that. Life was pretty good. Single mom. I have a sister who's 2 years younger. It's pretty normal, you know, like pretty average, just vacations, whatever. My mom got married when I was like 12,
Okay.
maybe 10. She was married for like 4 years. She ended up getting divorced when I was like a freshman in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the end of 8th grade. And she was hooked on meth.
Whoa.
And she was left with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a meth habit. And so life for me got real dark. We didn't have electricity in our house. 0. Our house was raided. The LA County Sheriff's raided my house more times than anyone I've ever met. I'm talking about like 30 times as a kid.
That's intense,
you know?
man.
Yeah, rifles out, get down on the floor. You know, gnarly. When
Right.
they do a raid for real.
Right, yeah.
They're not playing.
Yeah, once they get called in, that's
I'm gonna tell you
it.
this funny story. So, this old guy we used to let him rent a trailer in the back. My mom did. Mm-hmm. He smoked dope. Old school dude from Ventura. Had one eye. Just lived in a RV that didn't move. Right. With just dirty, gross. Right. With like 12 pit bulls.
12 of them? Were they blue nose, red nose?
They were mixed mutt. There was like the speckled ones. But they're ugly fat ones. You know what I mean? I hate it. I love pit bulls. Pit bulls are my favorite breed of dog.
Right.
They were ugly fuckers because they're just fat. You know, just not maintained, not kept well. Some old dude with like it was more like 8, and that's a real number.
Okay.
8. There's probably 8 of them, and they all lived in that trailer with them.
Oh.
But he had this trick. One time, he grew weed, and I would always steal his weed. Right, just all shiesty, just like blue and shit, right?
Yep.
I was trimming weed for him, and I'm like, I was like 14, trimming weed, right? And the cops, I seen him raiding, and I was like, hey, dude, we're getting raided right now. We're getting raided. And he would do the old school biker crank, right? So he would put it in his inhaler, put the cap on, and when he would walk out, he would put his hands up, and they were like, what's in your hand? He's like, my inhaler. And they were like, throw it. And he would throw it. And in the midst of it, they would never find anything in his trailer because it would be in his, it was the most
sick ass
old
truco,
school
dog.
trick I ever. Just old school G, and he would tell me the same stories. I'm a kid,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, bro, let's smoke more weed. Come on. I sit there and smoke weed with him. So
puff, pass.
Come on, let's
puff, give.
be really high because I heard this story, bro.
Right.
And so life got dark, dude. Our refrigerator was an ice chest with soggy ice. So whatever food was in there is probably not that good for very long.
Not edible.
So it was gnarly. My mom got sober at like 17. When I was 17 or probably like 18, she got sober. She's been sober ever since. She's got like 7, 8, 9 years.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's right.
She's a major part of recovery around here in this area.
That's amazing, man.
She's cool.
That's amazing.
So I took off running, dude, when I was like a freshman in high school. It was a wrap for me.
Oh, really?
I got into just doing a lot of drugs, a lot of partying, blacking out. 17, I started selling a lot of drugs. My family didn't let me live with them. And I sold a lot of drugs. And then, it got pretty intense. And, into my adulthood, it was even gnarlier,
Yeah, definitely.
Jails.
Gotta find a way to make money if you're not being at your parents' house. So I can relate to that. So I kind of respect it in a way, but at the same time, now we know, that's not really the life to be living, right?
Right.
So moving forward, I kind of want to ask you guys have kind of a little bit of different childhoods. How do you guys think that the childhood affected you guys growing up? Did it play a big role or not really into how you guys developed your lives?
My parents kind of did everything for me. I don't want to say too much, but I probably should say too much. Like my mom, I love my mom. My mom's the best lady I've ever met in my life, and I'll kill for her.
Right on.
And she's taking care of. I can't tell you, when I ended up going to prison, my mom took care of more of my homeboys in prison across the state of California than anybody. And there's dudes who still write me. They're never coming home lifers. Thank me for my mom helping me.
Oh, man.
But I guess in a way she did enable me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. And as a parent myself, it's kind of hard to not, like.
Yeah, I mean, how do you not? I mean, there's a few times though I got arrested. I'm telling you, she should have left me in jail and not got me out. I think I don't know. It just led. I don't know. It's a good question.
No, and the reason why I asked is because personally, I feel like a big part of my childhood kind of developed all of this addiction or alcoholism that I went through. That's why I asked, because I feel
My
like
mom was an alcoholic, so I didn't end up being an alcoholic, but I guess I picked it up in another way.
Right.
Drugs eventually. I mean, I didn't start doing drugs till after the Navy.
oh, okay.
No, maybe once before the Navy, but really I got to do it when I got because I got a medical honorable discharge, and I have a pension for the rest of my life. So
Nice. Yeah, my dude.
I came down with migraine headaches, and it's a disqualification after being in service for a while. So I picked up drugs pretty bad after that. I didn't really do much when I was younger, like he did, maybe like you
See,
did.
like me,
I
I'm
started in my
opposite.
20s. I didn't start using drugs, and I started with crack cocaine, and it was. I mean, I was selling drugs, working 2 jobs. It was a wrap. Crack cocaine will take you to the. I'm barefoot on Sepulveda. That's a hell of a drug. That shit is no joke, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy to be like best friends with someone that's like. It's kind of funny because we're kind of like polar opposites in a sense. Like so similar but so different.
Right, and I see the bonds with you guys, man. It's super dope to see a friendship like that.
It's tight. And it just grew over time, and it's one of those things that I'm forever grateful for.
Me too.
Yeah, like me, I was blacked out drunk every day, all the time at like 14, dude. Like that was natural. Like in Lancaster, there's nothing to do.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
drunk out there.
We just like it's like how high can we get? Like what? Like I remember there was a time where I was taking I took 20 Tylenol 500s just to see if I could get a head change.
Wow.
You did though, right?
No, I think I got
Sick to
really
your
sick.
stomach.
Oh, yeah, your liver, right? So okay, so don't try that, people. If you don't have any dope, don't do Tylenol.
Please. Public service announcement right here.
But yeah, it was just like on and popping, dude. I just was like, I did a lot of drugs. I went really hard. I didn't get super hard into hard drugs until I was like 17, and then I tried blow, and then blow took off for me, and then it was like Xanax, you know, and then it was Xanax, all the pharmaceuticals,
all the prescription stuff.
Norco,
See, I missed all that.
Roxy's, Oxys, like I loved it all, you know. Like Roxy's
all
hit,
that.
Yeah.
but they're so expensive. You know?
Yeah, and I was a pharmacy technician. I never even tried Roxy's, but I was fucking with Narcos. I was doing promethazine with choline,
pills, man.
get all itchy and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean, I kicked crack for crystal meth, and that was the biggest monster. I had an easier time getting off heroin than I did crystal meth.
well, okay, please explain. I mean, that might be able to help somebody.
Honestly, I can't. I don't know what it was. Just for me, because to get off crack cocaine, my friends helped me get on speed, introduced me to speed, and I went straight from smoking to a needle. And I don't know. I'm
That's
sure.
a common occurrence in
I don't know if you know this, but like I don't know if you use needles, but once you use a needle, you're pretty much that's a wrap. Everything. I mean, at that point, I mean everything. Ecstasy, cocaine, whatever I can get goes in an outfit. I'm not wasting my time with a pipe or snorting shit.
Damn.
Once you've had a rush from like a needle, it's too intense. Like nothing beats it.
Dude, that sounds so intense. I'm over here talking about blacking out, binge drinking, doing
See, I
coke.
never drank either. I can't relate to that. I wasn't. If I drank something, it was just to have a couple shots of Maker's Mark to calm me down when I've been awake for 2 weeks.
And that's why I love getting different perspectives and doing this podcast, man, because it just brings so
I
much
was just
light.
really addicted to the needle. There were times where if I didn't have dope, I would shoot just a little bit of water, just to feel the needle. Yeah, I was really like I loved anything. With
That's
the needle.
pretty intense. All right, so that leads me to my next question. So, what was the initial steps to recovering, or what was there an event that happened? Was there what was it? A thought process?
I went to prison. That gang shit. Eventually, after the Navy, I came back after being a medical honorable discharge. I came back and I blamed the world for getting kicked out of the Navy, not knowing it was just something simple. I couldn't be a fireman when I came back either, because in the 90s they had these, how can I say this? I don't want to be too controversial on here, but in the 90s they had these rules about jobs. Certain races couldn't have jobs, like, what was it called, affirmative action or something?
I'm not familiar with
Well, in the 90s there was like certain quotas for different, Asians needed more positions in the counties as police and firemen, and I came back to be a fireman and I couldn't because I was white and they couldn't promote whites at that time. They needed Asians and Latinos. They needed them to promote in the fire department. So I said, okay, well, you know what, fuck you, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. And I got kicked out of the Navy. I just went back to crime, and I went heavy into crime, selling drugs. I mean, I got into like kicking in doors and stuff, and I went to prison for about 19 years.
Okay, so that for you was like your rock bottom or your event to say, hey, you know what?
Actually, not even that. I mean, going to prison just got me involved in a bunch of other bad things, and I came home And when I finally came home, had such PTSD from prison that I sat in a room, my mom's house, for like maybe a year and a half, 2 years, just doing dope. And then one day I just crawled out of the room. I'll never forget crawling out of the room, just saying, "That's it. I can't do this anymore, Mom."
That's crazy. So the trauma and all that really manifests in the body and the mind in so many ways.
Yeah.
So Vince, how was it for you? How was it that you took those steps, those initial steps, or something happened, a rock bottom, an event, a thought process? Like what happened?
Yeah, mine's like I don't think. So, like, I went to my first rehab at 19. I went to the Royal Palms in downtown.
Okay.
Westlake. I was in the hood, right? 19 years old. I'm like, dude, I never saw someone shoot up at that time.
Oh, damn.
And I was in there with a Venice white boy and a dude from MS. And we were all 3 roomies. And I'll never forget, the Venice white boy met his 1-year-old son for the first time that day. I remember it perfect, and it was just that moment, father seeing his son for the first time, just the love, right? And he went right back up to his room, shot some dope, got drug tested the next day, and got kicked out, and they violated him, sent him back. And it was just like one of those things, was like, that's how gnarly this disease is. And I didn't understand it at the time. I was just kind of like, damn, that dude's an idiot. I judged him. I'm like, how could you do that? How dumb was that?
Right.
But 10 days later, I smuggled in like 50 Xanax. You know what I mean?
I think situations like that can be so overwhelming, it causes you to do that. Because I've had happy moments like that and I've had some clean time where I've blown it over something like some real cool event like that, and I would have to go home and just get high to just process that event.
That's crazy the way our body works, huh? 'Cause that's like a subconscious thing that happens, right? That occurs.
Yeah.
So
and sometimes it happens like that book says. It's called a peculiar mental twist. Sometimes it happens you don't even know it.
They call it a strange mental blank spot, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna, 99 times I can say no. It doesn't, 99 times, 999 times. But the time and day will come where we hit 100, right? And I just have no mental defense against it.
Yeah.
Like I've been to treatment 13 times. I've been to jail countless times. I've been to jail in Kern County, all over counties. I've been to almost every county jail,
That's crazy.
For some dumb reason, right?
I mean,
but like, it's crazy. I don't know. Like I in 2014, I went to Salvation Army twice in a row, right? I did 6 months, graduated, relapsed. Went back, straight back, did 6 months, graduated. The second time I worked steps, right? I got into the big book. I got a sponsor who knew what the fuck he was talking about. I did the work. I'm like straight nerd status. Like I was on it. I studied that book like it was my lifeline. And it was. It still is. And I did the work. I got the results, and I stayed sober for about 21 months. And then I let go. I slowly let go of stuff, meetings, sponsees, prayer, meditation, all the things that helped me get to where I was at. I put myself in a fucked up position. I was at a rave in Las Vegas,
EDC.
Dude, and this is the lie I bought, right? It was, I'm going to take ecstasy at festivals only. I popped them. I rolled balls. And before I was leaving, I was blacked out drunk. And my girlfriend at the time was like, you just told me you're only gonna do ecstasy at festivals. Why are you blacked out drunk? And I was like, well, duh, I have to come down. You know what I mean? Like,
there's a remedy to it. Yeah, there's a remedy to it.
I mean, you know what I mean? I'm talking about down, and so there I went. I don't even have to expand. I just, I'm popping. And for the next year, it was brutal as hell. And, this last time was pretty sad. A kid I was with, that I was getting high with, I think we had cocaine cut with fentanyl, because every time he did a line, he would fall out.
Oh snap!
So I'm like, dude,
people are doing that, cutting coke with fentanyl.
Oh yeah, dude, they're cutting fentanyl.
When I got sober this last time,
it's brutal.
There was fentanyl in the meth.
Fentanyl and everything, dude. Yeah. They're sprinkling it all over everything.
And my test came positive for cocaine, marijuana, fentanyl, a little bit of opiates, and some barbiturates, and I'm like, dude, I was only slamming what I thought was meth.
Dude, that's a trip, man. That's crazy. So, hey, you know what? I congratulate you guys for all the work that you guys have done and where you guys are at right now. Seriously, man, it's super dope hanging out with you guys. I want to ask you guys this. Is the environment or the scenery that you guys place yourself in, has it changed? Because I want to know if those were triggers, and to help others, maybe it would kind of, plant a seed in their head, like, hey, you know what, in a sense, if you do want to get better, you kind of have to cut some people off, you might have to move, certain things like that. Does that play a big role for recovery?
So, I think yes and no. I think it's all first is like, I think it's different for everyone. I think there's no one situation you can look at and be like, this is the method.
Right.
That
Definitely.
I think I've learned, and I was very hardcore AA, and I still am. That is my solution.
Because that worked for you.
That worked for me. That's my solution, right? But like, I was kind of rigid for a very long time, and like me and Matt today live lives where we're around all kinds of stuff. In the beginning, I wasn't. I think it took, for the first year and a half, 2 years, I definitely wasn't. Like, it was very minimal what I exposed myself to, only because I knew, and I didn't want to be around it, and I didn't have a reason. That's the most important thing I stress today with people in recovery is, like, if you have a reason to be there, right? There's a part in the big book where he went to the country to sell a car. Why would you sell a car in the country? Where do you sell cars? On a car lot. What's he doing? He just set himself up. He had no reason being there. That's the whole point, right? So, like, today, that's how I look at my life. Do I have a reason to be here? Yes or no, right? And if I do, I'm going to be okay. If I don't, I'm going to feel it. And I think me and Matt are very similar on that. Me and Matt, we do a lot of dope shit. We're around a lot of rad people today. Not everybody's sober. Right, I'm in the tattoo industry. We're both in the tattoo industry. Modeling, this, that, clothing industry. A lot of people aren't sober.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people respect it though.
They do, and I respect people that are not sober and can manage to party and have a good time.
My head is off to them.
Yeah, same here. And I'm just like, dude, like, that's super dope. But we also know that it's not for everybody, right? Yeah. It's not for everybody. Would you like to chime in on that question, Matt?
I know for me, like he said initially, for me to get sober, I had to get out of the valley where I'm from. I went to Lancaster. I went to a treatment center up there. I couldn't do it around where I was at. There was just too much everywhere.
Too much going on.
Yeah, and then I think initially, now that I've got like my foundation, because I have 2 years and we have about 2 years and 6 months.
Nice.
May 1st, 2018.
And I got May 15th, 2018.
That's so what's up, dude.
Yeah, we got the same time. So I'm at a place now where I
got 2 weeks more.
Yeah, he's got 2 weeks more. Right. Yeah,
Can't leave that out. Can't leave that
out. I stay connected to the streets. Like, so now I'm more comfortable being connected to a lot of people that are still fucking up, and I still try to help the best I can. And I still stay in connection with all my people from the valley. A lot of them, like he said, a lot of them drink. A lot of them can conduct themselves normally. Some of them can't. And I'm at a place now where I'm more comfortable with it. It doesn't trigger me at all anymore.
Okay. So it takes a while. It takes like about...
I don't recommend anybody who's new going around at all.
And like, if you hear him when he says that, he has a reason to be there. Like, he's at a friend's house visiting friends.
Yeah,
that's his reason.
Or I'm a security guard at a casino where some of this stuff goes on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not just going to go sit at a bar and have nachos.
Right. You're there to celebrate something or some sort of business.
Yeah. I don't recommend anybody who's new trying to
like that doesn't go to the bar and hang out and try and just hang out at a bar. We don't do that.
Yeah, there's a purpose why you're there.
Purpose.
Exactly.
Okay, that's some very good insight. And I think that's the way I conduct myself as well. If I'm celebrating a party or something like that, people won't catch me just at a bar kicking.
Like, I don't try to avoid living life either, but I'm also aware.
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of recovery is, like, I didn't get sober to stay in a bubble.
What it says in the book, what it say, we're not a glum lot.
Right. Yeah. We want to, like, I want to be as free as possible. We're going to live life like regular men.
Yeah.
And the book promises that. And, like, me and Matt are prime examples of people who are able to do that today.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have a misconception of that. Like, let's say they used to party, they love partying, and then they think if once they get sober, that's it. Their life is over. Like, that belief that they have, it's just like, I'm just going to be trapped in a bubble, like you said.
I can see that being maybe more being a harder problem for, like, just a basic alcoholic. But I don't know how you guys were when you did dope, but I was a monster. I was not fun. When I did dope, I stayed home. I wasn't a social user. I would lock myself in a room or a hotel, and I was probably the worst human being ever.
So you're more.
It was dark, but
I
who
isolate.
remembers that? None of us remember those times.
I remember a lot of those times.
I don't
It
ever.
was scary.
I'm like, dude, remember when we were partying when I was 15 and it was fun? Like, that's where my mind goes.
Right, I
Every
remember
time I
bits and
relapse-
pieces.
I remember bits and pieces of the fun times, but for me, they're so long ago that they're just now. I only remember the bad times, and I keep those bad times for a reason right here. I keep them right here, so I remember those me locked in a room, marks all over my body, destroying my mom's $1 million home, turning a $1 million home in Santa Clarita into a trap house.
Damn.
Just so I can fucking isolate myself and shoot dope 14 times an hour until speed doesn't even work anymore.
Dude, that's intense,
I
man.
remember. I keep
That is
shit.
intense.
I talk about it to myself even if I have to once a day.
You definitely I think that the darker moments do outweigh the happier moments for sure, and I think it's important for us to keep that in mind.
Yeah, the dark moments are very important, at least for me.
But like in the beginning, like that's your conception, right? Like everybody thinks that when their first gets over. Like I was like, dude, my life's over.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna be lame. This is gonna be lame. And I think a lot of young people can relate to wanting to be, scared of losing that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, in the beginning, you do lose it.
Yeah, it's
You
boring.
have to lose it.
You have to do a lot of repetitive stuff to learn how to stay clean. But
You're
it's
gonna
like,
have to build a foundation. You're gonna have to build something
Yeah.
first.
We didn't
Before
start-
you get
yeah.
to enjoy a house, you have to build that.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
first step of building that house is laying a foundation.
Laying that
right?
brick by
Once you
brick.
lay that, like today, me and Matt, our lives. I'm telling you, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should.
I do, yep.
Because my shit's always popping. Like me and Matt do dope shit every day. If we're not helping somebody, we're doing something really dope with some really cool people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're
Yep.
really well connected, doing really cool things.
Yeah.
And my life today is better than it ever was when I was loaded. I do so much more
my
cool
worst
stuff.
day, my worst day sober is better than my best day high.
Yep.
Like we kill it today. Like,
Straight
our
up.
life's so
Yeah.
fun,
Straight
dude.
up.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude. Like our life.
I see it, man. I'm like, damn, these guys are having fun, man. This is dope. And you know what? I really like that you guys do that and put it out there because, it kind of breaks that misconception that you could have a certain image or be young and be having fun and not having to use.
There's a lot of young people lately. That's a new trend. A lot of younger and younger people are getting clean.
And that's dope,
Yeah,
man.
it's dope.
And that's super dope, man. Like the consciousness, like I was talking earlier, has shifted. And I'm really thankful to kind of be in a position where I could create a platform to put that out there, man. And I know you guys are doing the same as well. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I know we talked about earlier how changing sceneries and things like that. But at the same time, you could move somewhere else, but we all know that the issues are within us as well.
Yeah.
So how important is that to do that inner work? Anything you guys did yourselves in particular? I know you talked about the big book. What did you do, Matt, other than that, if there is anything else? And then you, Vince.
Well, I got a sponsor. I had an AA sponsor who got me through the AA steps, and then I went back to my other previous sponsor, who's another one of my best friends, Garrett, and he got me through the NA steps, and then we got through the AA steps. I've done my steps 3 times.
Okay.
I just keep doing them, and then I just keep doing them. That's what got me through in the beginning. I did that, and I buckled down.
Nice. So what step in particular really that you knew you had a tough time with, and you're like, I gotta address it?
The first one, just make it. Oh no! Which one did I have to address the most?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say that inventory list. That's yeah. You gotta really get everything out.
You gotta
there.
crack down
Even
on
the
it.
shit that you think you shouldn't tell someone. That weird shit that you might have done.
Yeah, oh
Like,
man, I
that
know
weird shit that, like,
I know.
You know,
You don't want to go there, but you got to.
You gotta get rid of
Yeah.
it because that shit'll sneak up and bite you, and you might end up on a couch somewhere, high.
And I think Matt's a good example, and I hope this message can get to someone who might be pretty hardcore, done a lot of prison time. Because I know I've been in so many treatment centers that a lot of dudes who've done a lot of prison time come out and feel like their number one thing is, I'm not telling nobody nothing. You know what I mean? And that's going to sink people. It kills people.
Yeah.
And Matt is a perfect example of someone who's done 19 years in prison, came out and spilled his fucking guts to save his life.
And
look at him today.
Yeah,
And
man.
there's some shit that I shared that I broke down in tears telling my sponsor.
That's heavy.
And I don't give
Super.
2 fucks about what anybody thinks.
A lot of people in his position
and I've done
never
shit
do that.
like, and I'm gonna tell you right now, prison, it's not always like the movies. Prison, if you've been to the places I've been, it's extremely scary on an hourly basis. So there's a lot of shit we go through there that needs to stay in there. But like, it's shit you got to get out on these steps. For anybody who's been to prison, you got to get rid of that shit. You got to get it off your back because it will weigh you down.
Dude,
That's the message
respect,
that
man.
needs to be
Respect, dude.
That's heavy.
Man, I feel so privileged to have both of you guys here, man. Thank you, Matt, for sharing that.
Yeah, you're
For real, big time. All right, guys. So I know that you guys are doing your DST thing. Like, I really want you guys to share this message. What is DST? What is the vision for it? Like, I know it's all positive vibes. Like, please elaborate on it, man.
So I'm gonna tell you the truth how it started. So I'm up in Fraser Park. I'm with my homeboy.
I want to hear this, man, because I got a sick ass story.
So I had this ex's name on my face, right? And I needed both sideburns done. And I was sitting there, I'm like, what am I gonna put on this side? I'm like, and I was trying to think of cool little things, right? And I was like, don't stop trying. I think I accidentally said it. And I was like, don't stop trying. And I sat there and I was like, don't stop trying. Don't stop trying.
Don't stop trying.
I was like, dude, that's how I got to where I'm at right now. That's how anybody's gotten anywhere, right? Don't stop trying. And it just hit me. Like, I was like, DST. I was like, dang.
Sounds nice.
I was like, it's sick. I was like, yo, throw it on my face.
That's what's
so
up.
I tatted it on my face. And so that was that. And I started an Instagram. Really how it started was there's a huge stigma. I don't know how many people, blue collar, regular, average Joes, that didn't grow up in an environment where talking about mental health or looking at mental health or looking at drug addiction or dealing with drug addiction was something they ever did, or was looked at negatively, like you're trash, they're just junkies, they're no good, just let them die, or their mental health, they're just babies, they're seeking attention, or they have anxiety, they're faking it, deal with it, just be a man, just be a woman, just handle your business, right? All these stigmas behind it. Thinking that they are making the choice to be the way they are, but they're not.
Exactly.
And I want to, and what we're trying to do is show that, like, there's a stigma and we want to break it. And there's a lot of people who deal with this, right? So I want to get people from, like, some bum on the street, right? Some homeless dude who has mental health to, like, a huge celebrity. You know how many, like, people that are verified on Instagram that I know that deal with either drug addiction, mental health, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, all of that.
Yeah. All of that.
I have a huge spectrum of people I can bring in to share a story of relating. All different platforms of this world, and they all have one thing in common. We all have an issue. A lot of us, not all of us, and what I want to do is make it so that we can send a message so heavy that the people without the problems can hear it, because they're not hearing us right now.
That's big, and I think that's super important. When you look at somebody with addiction, with mental health, and I was like this before, I gotta keep it straight up 100. I was like this before, where you look at the disease and you're not really looking at the person for who they are. Like, for example, like a family member that I have, he was heavy into drugs. I had already gotten sober, but because I knew his story and I knew I had higher expectations for him, I had to stop myself and be like, yo, bro, like, this person is family. Understand he's family. Don't judge him or look at him by his disease. Understand he doesn't have control right now. So show more empathy, show more love. And guess what? He's 1 month sober right now, thanks to that. So sometimes we really got to redirect our thought process and how we go about things, even if we already know. Like me personally, I knew already, but I needed that constant reminder sometimes, So that's a huge message. That's a huge message that you guys are sharing. I really respect you guys
and
for that.
We live it, and that's the most important thing. Is like, I brought Matt in because he's my best friend, and he is someone. He is the best friend I've ever had my entire life. He is a perfect example of what a friend should be. He texts everyone he loves every single morning. Good morning, I love you.
No.
Every night, are you okay? I love you. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm talking about, I've never even had a girlfriend do that for me, bro. My mom ain't even done that for me. Nobody done that for me.
I'd be surprised who complains about that, though.
Dude, I'm talking about, that is a quality that I will cherish forever. You know what I mean? Someone who checks in every single morning. Good morning, I love you. And he replicates that into his entire day. He's driving here to help them, do this for them. Like, we live this. We're out there in the streets trying to make a difference.
With no guts.
A lot of people don't see the behind the scenes, and we don't document it as much. But what I do document is my mental breakdowns. Right? I struggle heavy with depression. I'll go live and I'll act a fool. You know why? Because I don't care. You know what I mean? I want people to see that I'm not perfect. I struggle just like you. I want to freak out just like you, and I'm not afraid to show it. A lot of people are afraid. They're like, I'll judge me. Look at me dumb. Say I'm dumb. Don't like me. I don't care.
And you know what that reflects, bro? I really appreciate you saying that, because you're putting yourself in this extremely vulnerable position.
Right.
But what people don't understand, and I know you do, is that vulnerability is not weakness. That's a strength.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's dope as fuck, man. I really appreciate you for sharing that, dude.
Yeah. We want to make the most comfortable, the most A-grade quality product on the streets. Like, I don't want to be like anybody else. I want to be so different that people are like, oh, dude, like, I don't want anybody ever to say, like, their shit was terrible. Their shirts are uncomfortable. Their hats suck. Like, I don't want anybody to ever say that about anything we make. You know, maybe I don't like it. It's not for me. But never like, oh, it's terrible quality. That's why I don't like it.
Right.
Hey, this is not my style. That's cool. I can deal with that. We're not for everybody. Everything we make, not everybody's going to like.
Yep.
But I don't want anybody to ever touch something we make and be like, oh, dude, that was not good. I don't like it. I would never buy that again.
Yeah.
And a lot of the reason is because we want to make stuff we want to wear.
Yeah.
We want to make dope shit that we want to wear.
Yep.
And if you dig it, you dig it.
Yeah.
And once we get to the point where financially it's running on its own, and we can step aside and let the business run itself, we're going to be doing a lot of a lot of outreach, and try and give back a lot. So we came across this thing, right? They say 22 vets die a year, or die a day from mental health, suicide.
That's
right?
intense.
22 vets.
That's a lot.
day.
That's
That's a lot.
an issue. That's a pandemic right there.
That's a pandemic. We need to do something about that. One of my goals is to open a personal 2 therapist building office where we can offer free services, where we
Nice.
pay out of our pocket
That's
for
big.
those therapists' time for an 8-hour shift every single day to be able to bring in X amount of clients. It might not solve the problem. It won't solve the problem. I don't think anybody can solve the problem. That might not be a problem we can ever a problem we can ever solve. But what I do want to do is know that we did our part. If we're going to claim we're about mental health, if we're going to claim we're about this, we better see some actions.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of my biggest goals, is to give back to vets, to be able to offer a service where they can come to get free therapy, an hour a day.
Dude, that is huge, man. That is huge, man. I'm really
Big
feeling
thing.
that vision, man.
That is a huge goal of ours.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of support. You know, we've been grinding, we've been hustling, we've been doing our part. And we hope to get to a point where we can financially be able to do that. You know, like, we know we're not going to get rich off the clothing industry. I work for another clothing company, and I know that it's not a business where, unless you're like Supreme or Nike, you're never going to make it. You know, you might do well, but you're not going to be, the chances, right? So if I can settle with sustainability, where we can, like, open a spot where we can have 2 therapists that work 5 days a week, 8-hour shifts, 8 different clients every single day, would be, 8 times 5, what, that's 40? That's 40 clients a week.
That's a
Something
huge
like
vision,
that.
man. That's amazing. Yo, like, I didn't even know that part about DST, man. That is huge, man.
That's a goal.
Yep.
That is.
You know where that came from? Is I was sitting down and a vet was telling me, he was crying to me. A grown man saying how many of his friends are dead and how the VA doesn't offer that much, and it just hit. It's like, man, if I'm about mental health, if I'm about making a difference, this is something I can try and get my feet in.
That's
I want to
big.
help. How can we help? We're open to suggestions. Don't stop trying is our Instagram. Like, hit us with something. How can we make a difference? What communities can we help? What can we do?
Yeah.
Right on, man. That's huge. Is there anywhere else where people can follow you other than Instagram? Matt, what is your Instagram?
Mine's Mohawk Matt. That's
Mohawk
me.
Matt. I'm going to go ahead and put the links in the description below as well. Now, before you guys take off, I do want to ask you guys just one more question, if I may. And that is, in my opinion, I feel like there's 3 things in life that are guaranteed in life. And they're actually marked in our gravestone. And that is our birthday and the day we pass. But one thing we don't really pay attention to is that dash in the middle. What does the dash in the middle represent to you guys? How do you guys want to be remembered by?
I guess just that I did everything for all my friends and family that I could. Because most of them did everything for me when I was in prison or in
that's
service and growing up. And nobody ever gave up on me.
Don't stop trying.
Don't stop trying.
Yep. Don't stop trying.
That's big, man.
Yep.
That was rad.
That was sick.
That came out actually really cool.
Yeah.
Match. That was
Smooth.
tight.
Smooth?
Smooth. You shot that.
Super smooth.
Yeah. Dang, that's a good question, dude. I'm gonna be remembered by a lot of things. Some not so good. Some maybe good. But what I would hope is that I never stop trying. And that sounds dumb because, you know what I mean? But
Not at all, bro.
It means everything to me today. It's something that's so tangible for anyone in this world, is that like that and for me personally, to relate it, that Dash, like that, he never stopped trying. You know how many times I've been to rehab? 13 times, dude. You know how embarrassing it was? You know how many people were like, dude, just fucking do it, or just stop. Go out and stay in the streets. Stop. What are you doing? You know, you're an idiot. But the thing is like, I'm not an idiot. What I did is I never stopped trying. I failed and I failed and I failed and I failed. One thing I never did do is give up. And that's what I want to be remembered for, is I just never gave up, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Big time, bro.
Because it's easy to give up.
Oh,
How many
for
times
sure.
every time we got high, we gave up. I was like, all right, fuck it, it's too hard.
It's too hard.
On one. Pookie twisting, foil splitting, beer sipping, son of a guns, right?
Needle pushing.
Needle pushers.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I can't say this enough. I appreciate your guys' time for coming on. And I really feel the energy that you guys do want to make a fucking difference. You know, bringing awareness to the stigma and addiction, whether it's drugs, you know, eating disorders, you want to help vets. That is huge, man. And I'm so thankful to have you on this platform right now.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate you guys, man.
We appreciate what you're doing. And that's why, like, we were so excited to do this, is because we see how you want to do that.
Yeah.
We see your vision. And not often do people get on a wavelength where they can see your vision, what you're trying to do, how you're trying to do it, and we love it, we respect it. We think this is going to be something that might be pretty major.
Yeah.
It's something
Thank you,
people
man.
need right now.
Yeah,
In a time 2020 coronavirus, like, this is what the world needs right here.
Yeah.
exactly.
Definitely.
This is what it needs, and you're doing it. You're leading the way, the pioneer, to send a message, to spread it so that anybody can get to it.
Yep.
Appreciate
That's what
that.
the world needs, bro.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you guys, man.
That's
Man,
absolutely
I'm about to
beautiful.
tear up right here, man. Shit, thank you, man.
We are
Appreciate
so
that.
honored to be on this, bro. We are so
definitely.
honored that you even considered us.
Yeah. I've been excited for a week.
Man,
we're all-
hands down,
we're
bro.
all
I'm just like,
druggies,
gotta
druggies,
have these
but,
guys,
yeah.
man.
It's rad, man.
All right, man. Hey, thank you guys for joining me once again.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Thanks.
I'll never be the same.